Nah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sorry about the technical difficulties. But we're going to return back to the issue of being a fanatic, fanaticism. And he says that fanaticism within Islam, one of the root causes of its destruction, whose fury has resulted in bloodshed amongst Muslims. It varies in extremity, with the most dangerous level being separation from the party of Allah and alignment with the party of Satan. To bring a basic understanding of this, I'm going to mention it again. And for example, I'm from Philadelphia, our brothers from Philadelphia, and people who watch sports and know sports know that the city is known for its fire for football. A fanatic and this type of grouping together and your loyalty and things are based upon this particular group or this particular team and things like that, I'll bring it home. The Eagles fans are known to be unruly and to be angry and always upset and fighting and things like that. You know why? Because they base their allegiance on a color and a team. And their fanaticism is based around that. I mean, anybody who's not from that, who speaks against it, they're not only enemies to, but it can get violent and bloodshed happens. Where people get arrested and things like that happen. And hatred comes from it. Meaning a person will literally hate another human being. Dallas fans are beaten and stuff like that. You will hate another human being. You don't even know him. You haven't never met him in your life. But your hatred for this human being is because he doesn't agree with your colors. He doesn't agree with your team. And he doesn't like your particular brand. And so it goes fanatic from that point of view. I just wanted to bring a Dunyui example, something that we see all the time of what a fanatic can be.
The evil results of it.
Yeah.
But this point that the brother is bringing is extremely important.
Yeah.
And we talked about that because no doubt about it, you're still going to have a his.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're not saying that no one is going to form into a his. There are only two his.
Yeah.
Hizbullah or Hizbul Shaitan. There's only the party of Allah. There's only the party of the Shaitan. There's no third his. There's no fourth his. So the point that breaks that his up and cause it to break up in the schism to hizb and things like that is nothing else but fanaticism, where a person goes outside of his or her way, either based on a concept or ideology, a person, or personalities, a group, you know, for any other particular reason other than that of Allah and His Messenger.
Yep.
And this is why it's extremely important that one make the guideline, as Shaykh Islam and Taymiyyah rahmatullah ta'ala mentioned, he makes the guideline or the measurement stick on which he bases allegiance on anything is on the adherence of the Quran and Sunnah. So if a person is adherent to Quran and Sunnah 100%, then your allegiance to that particular person is only based on his adherence to the Quran and the Sunnah for that 100%.
It's not where they're from.
Exactly. If it's 80%, then your allegiance should be to that person 80% based off their adherence to the Quran and the Sunnah. We don't love the scholars because they are scholars. We love the scholars because they are trustworthy scholars who are adhering to the Quran and the Sunnah, inshallah ta'ala, right? And they are explaining it, and they are, you know, things like that. So we can't make our allegiance based off of a nationality, based off of a city or a neighborhood or a group. And many of us know, for those who are older, they know that we came up during the times of gang wars. Even during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, in Jahiliyyah, they had a lot of tribalism. You know, a lot of tribalism stuff that was going on. You know, wars would break out. 100-year wars would take place between two tribes. And these things, like this is why the Prophet ﷺ, he did his best to eradicate that type of concept and ideology. So we have to be extremely careful about breaking up into sets. If you find yourself, saying, for example, because a person might go to another masjid that you don't go to, okay, not quote unquote, you know, you're going to a deviant masjid, you know, because many of us, we're not going to get into the term of what's a deviant masjid. Okay, if you really know what a deviant masjid is, and you know how many deviant masjids there are in the city that you reside in, then alhamdulillah. And if you are aware of that, then you make your friend, you make your brother aware of that. But don't say a deviant masjid is so-and-so masjid because they don't see eye to eye or they don't agree on certain things. These things you definitely don't want to, you know, fall into.
Exactly.
He continues. What did he say?
He says, So he says the party of Allah and the party of Shaitan. One of the things I want to bring out, as our brother mentioned before, before we go on, he said that the Prophet ﷺ said he left us upon two things. We never go astray. We hold on to them. It's night. It's like it's day. It's the tab of Allah and His Sunnah. So these are what we're supposed to have allegiance on. Also, the hadith of the sects, of the furqa, as we mentioned. The Prophet ﷺ said the Jews will be 71 furqa. I mean, the Christians will be 72, and the Muslims will be 73 furqa. The fact that Allah called them furqa, and the Prophet called them that, and that the group within all those groups is the blessed group. It still was called a what?
A furqa.
A furqa.
It's still called a sect.
A sect.
Yeah.
So, but that shows you that tahazzub is not always madmuma.
No, it's not always blameworthy.
It's not always blameworthy, but it's praiseworthy when it's following Allah and His message.
Well, it's inevitable that you're going to
exactly. By nature, you're
going to go into a sect, but that particular sect should be the sect of Allah and His messenger.
Exactly.
Not based off of people that we love.
Exactly.
And this is something we have to extremely be careful with. Even when the relationship that a student has with his teacher, you want to grow a profound love that you have for your teacher, because this is the one who's instructing you, guiding you, and teaching you. So sometimes you find it hard to break off if that particular person, that teacher, makes a mistake or an error. Then you find yourself hard to break off that error if that teacher don't want to come off the error that teacher is upon. And this is why you have to make sure your love and your respect for that teacher is only based off that teacher adherence to the Quran and the Sunnah.
Because if not, it falls into his biyah. As Sheikh Mahmoud Luthi Amr, he said, may Allah preserve him, once you make Salafiyah a person, place, or a thing, you fell into his biyah.
But I'm saying that statement alone is profound, just like this statement. Once you make Salafiyah, again, stop and say that. Once you make Salafiyah a person, place, or a thing.
That's it.
Because Salafiyah, if you're not saying Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Sheikh Muqbil rahmatullah ta'ala alayhi said, you're going to be fanaticism or about anything, then be fanatic about the Prophet.
SubhanAllah. Not about a group or a town.
You be that way about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Or a book. I mean,
that's the only one who demands your respect. Absolutely.
Nah. You can never disagree with him. You can never disagree with him. You can disagree with any other human being other than him.
Nah. Fuck that.
He says, this is the evil consequences of the ignorant that contrive principles within our blessed religion. There is a dire need to prevent this corrupt ideology from spreading and to warn of its ill effects on the ummah. Sort
of like what we're doing here, even though we're not calling it a warning, we're trying to do like a wake-up segment. We just want the Muslims to critically think for themselves. Allah Jalla wa Ala says in the Quran over and over, do they not reflect? Do they not see? Do they not ponder? As Shaykh Uthaymeen rahmatullah alayhi, he mentioned that the Quran calls to the intellect. It calls the intellect. It don't just calls from, wahi, revelation, but it also directs towards the intellect. Do you not use the faculties in which Allah Jalla wa Ala gave you?
Go across the earth.
You don't have to shut down. You don't have to feel afraid. You don't have to be, scared. That particular thing or that particular movement or that particular outlook or perspective is not settling with you. This is why when it was asked about by Sheikh Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, when it was asked about him in Bukhari, in Kitab al-Ilm, in the Book of Knowledge, about asking for a fatwa. You know what I mean? And he said that you go with the fatwa that is what?
Yeah, close that you feel as though it's safer for you.
It brings ease to your heart. Yeah. So if you know, for example, a person is moving or a group of people are moving in a certain way that you know deep down inside you just don't agree with it. Don't say, I'm just going to follow alone.
You got to man up.
You have to think now.
Yeah.
That don't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, yeah.
Prophet ﷺ as mentioned, even though there are some discrepancies in terms of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that this ummah would never what?
United upon falsehood.
Upon dalala.
Yeah.
This ummah would never unite upon what? Dalala.
Falsehood. No. He says, no Muslim can deny the urgency to address this issue today.
Stop right there. He didn't say no imam. He didn't say no talib or ilm. No alim. Okay? He said no Muslim. Okay? On each and every one of our level, we can confront this issue. Not meaning confront the issue in terms of you got to get a microphone, you got to speak out. You can confront the issue by critically thinking. not going along with the social norm, not going along with the social pressure. This is how you can confront it.
Yeah.
You can confront it by, if you want to get articles and pass the article out, by waking up another Muslim, spreading dawah. You can confront it by making dua for the Muslim situation, not being complacent to it. So you definitely can confront this, and it is an urgency.
It is.
It is an urgency because to this day, we are all tiptoeing around a political atmosphere that is hectic. People don't want to listen to certain people. They don't want to go to certain masjids because they don't want to be bombarded with a bunch of questions or a line of questions that might be intrusive or might be,
They feel uncomfortable to the point where people are not greeting each other. People are not. They don't have any. When you see them, you feel the uncomfortability they have around you, and it's just causing a separation of the hearts.
And it's amazing because the Prophet ﷺ from the signs of the hours that the people are going to greet those whom they know.
Who they know. Yep, exactly. SubhanAllah.
Go ahead, finish.
As preservation of Islam, the soul, intellect, and honor and wealth of every Muslim is from the goals and objectives of the Sharia. With the consultation of scholars, students of knowledge, as well as family and friends, I present this topic in order to defend Islam and counsel the unenlightened. So
here, the brother is telling you the reason why he felt the need to put together a case study. In my humble observation, I don't believe that the brother, and if later on he might have said it somewhere else, or it might seem like that, but it don't seem like it's a personal attack.
No.
In and of itself.
No.
From what he's written here, it doesn't seem like it's a personal attack. But it does seem like he feels the need that he has to address this issue that is destroying the ummah from within. And just ask yourself, how many of us to this day, we had close companions and close associates and close friends that we used to deal with on a regular basis because they take a certain opinion about a particular sheikh or a particular student, we no longer deal with them. We even went so far, man, like, it's mind staggering that we went so far down to just call each other deviants.
No.
With no sense of reservation, no nothing. It's just that, I'm okay with calling you a deviant. And then when you ask someone why you call him a deviant, it's because he don't go to masjid so-and-so. I never knew that was a basics.
No.
Going to a certain masjid doesn't make you a deviant. It's nowhere, la yujid. It's not found. You can ask a million scholars. That is not found.
But in Muslim countries, we pray in all the masjids except for ones with graves in it.
But I'm saying this concept because you don't go to a certain masjid, you're a deviant. That's not found.
No, this concept.
You can't show no scholar that ever talked on that particular issue.
In the books of the Aqidah, the Qudamat, of the Aqidah of old. You
won't find it.
There, no.
But we have bred a generation that is okay with this type of understanding.
And they believe it's from Islam too. Yeah. That's the dangerous part of it.
No, the dangerous part, exactly. What do that resemble? What did Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad al-Wahhab rahmatullahi alayhi mention in his book called Fadl al-Islam? He said that the Asi, the sinner, okay? He said that the one who is upon bid'ah, the Muqtadi', he is ashad min al-Asi. He's worse than the sinner. Why? Because the one who commit innovation, he believes that what he is doing is good. He believes that that act he is doing is bringing him closer to Allah.
He won't make tawbah.
He won't make tawbah because of that. The one who is a disobedient sinner, on the other hand, knows that he or she might be doing wrong, so there's hope for that person to what? Repent to Allah Azza wa Jalla. So this is why you find that, like you said, this is real dangerous when a person believing the fact that he's calling you a deviant or making a deviant, a blanket statement on everyone.
And that's an innovative concept that they're using to call you a deviant.
But they don't know that.
They don't know that.
This is the point. They don't understand that particular point.
They
How do we reach them?
No. So, and then he says, I ask Allah to guide the readers of this work to Salafiyah for its truth and to establish them firmly upon its implementation in every aspect of their lives. And I ask Allah to forgive me for all my shortcomings and errors in my attempts to defend the blessed creed of Ahlul Hadith. Abu Aliya Abdullah Ibn Dwight Lamont Battle Jr., inmate candidate in Hadith and its sciences, Doha, Qatar, the month of Shawwal, the 5th of Shawwal, 1435.
So again, the only thing, like I said, in terms of the the name of the actual article. I wish our brother would have, made it specific more so than making it blanket. Calling, the cult characteristics among the Salafees, it definitely can be offensive for multiple points, because it's like you're saying, anyone who ascribed to the Dawah Salafiyya share these similarities.
Obviously, he didn't mean that, but it can be taken.
I mean, we know that he didn't mean it, alhamdulillah, but still, at the same time, you have to be careful with your words. Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says in the Quran, say, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, tell my servants to say those words which are best, those words which are hiya ahsan, hiya lati ahsan, because in the shaitan, because indeed shaitan, he sowed dissension amongst man, and he's an enemy to man. So when you take on a project such as this, which is tremendous in its work, you want to make sure that it is mafhum, and that you're able to get his point across without offending people directly. I know we're confrontational beings. We like to be confrontational, but that's not the point of haqq. The point of haqq is not to be confrontational. Yes, haqq erased batil, and it needs to be addressed. You don't have to be silent about a thing. That'll make you weak. But you don't have to be derogatory neither. We don't have examples with the Prophet ﷺ just to get his point across. He was derogatory. I'm not saying that the brother himself in this particular title was being derogatory. I know that there was a lot of backlash, and a lot of people felt certain ways about this particular article. However, I agree with the points that he brought, and I agree that we do need to be aware of it, and we do need to go back and reread it and make sure that we're not falling into these characteristics that are there. And hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, in the coming 5-minute wake-ups, we will go over the book in detail, and by the permission of Allah Jalla wa Ala, and deal with some of the characteristics that he brings, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khairan. This is your brother Nafis Abu Zayd.
This is Isa.